Ever burned your cigarette down to nothing? Ash dropping, carpet starting to smell. Grilled some meat and let the coals get away from you? Half of it turned to charcoal. It's fine. Carbon's good for you, you told yourself. Blew out a candle and forgot about the other one? Woke up to a melted candlestick. Everyone has a fire shame. Small, embarrassing. The kind you don't tell anyone about. Now give that to an emperor. Rome is burning. A man watches from a tower. Lyre in his hand. On his face, and they say. A smile. Nero. For 2,000 years, one sentence. He burned it. But what if the man standing closest to it wasn't even sure? Tacitus, born just a few years after the fire, a man with access to the Senate's archives, record in hand, pen in hand, and he wrote a single word. Uncertain, chance or cunning, he didn't say. He couldn't decide. Then 150 years pass. Another man is born. A century and a half after the fact, never smelled the smoke, never saw Rome burn. And he's the one who speaks with the most certainty. Cassius Dio. The emperor watched with joy, he says. He planned everything, he says. A man who was never there delivers the most confident line. You know this. While you weren't standing at the grill, your brother tells everyone the next day the meat burned because he was on his phone. He wasn't there. You were. But the story is his. What if a friend who never saw you at that party swears you were drunk? What if your mother, who wasn't even in the kitchen, blames you for why the pot burned? Distance doesn't quiet a voice. Sometimes it amplifies it. There's a third man, Suetonius. A little closer, a little more careful. He's the one who tells the tower scene. But a few pages later in the same book, he mentions an entirely different punishment. Never connects it to the fire. Two separate stories, from the same pen. Words aren't enough anymore. Time to look at the ground. Archaeologists digging beneath Rome find something. Burn layers. But these layers cover a neighborhood, not a city. The burned area, 15% of the city, 20 at most. So, Rome turned to ash is really just an exaggerated version of one district burned. Why the exaggeration? Because right next to the destruction, there are walls that were deliberately knocked down, torn down to stop the fire, or used to clear the land. The ground doesn't talk. You hear whatever you already believe. Look at the coins minted right after the fire. Words stamped on them, Rome reborn. Think about it. Does someone who burned down their own house go tell the neighbors how safe everything is now? Then a man shows up, Anthony Barrett, a modern historian digging through the archives. What he finds is simple but heavy. In all of history, not a single ruler has ever burned down his own capital on purpose and managed to keep control of it. Not once. Not in any era, not in any record. Because fire is like that. It slips the hand holding it, like cigarette ash, like grill coals, like candle flame, just 1,000 times bigger, 10,000 times bigger. What probably happened? A wooden city, narrow streets, a spark catching in a shop, a wind picking up. The emperor wasn't even in the city that day. He came back and handed out aid, rebuilt, changed the rules, and still got blamed. Now think about your own fire shame. Your brother wasn't even there, but he was the loudest voice in the room. You still remember what burned. You don't remember who was right.